It was exactly 11 p.m. on a quiet Thursday night. The red dust of Mars shimmered faintly through the window of Alex's small room. He sat at his desk, eyes glued to the holographic screen hovering in front of him. Streams of data from school projects, science forums, and curiosity-driven simulations flickered across the display. Mars was still mostly dark, except for the faint glow from the colony lights outside. Alex loved these late-night hours. On Earth, people might be asleep, but here, in the quiet of the Martian colony, the night seemed endless. He could explore ideas without interruption, solving math problems, reading about ancient Earth civilizations, and sometimes just staring at the dusty horizon, imagining what lay beyond. He was so lost in thought that the knock came as a surprise. Knock, knock. It was soft, almost hesitant, but enough to make Alex jump in his seat. He paused, staring at the door, thinking that maybe it was one of his younger siblings wandering the hall. But no. This knock was different, deliberate, quiet, and carrying a strange sense of purpose. "Who is it?" Alex called, trying to keep his voice steady. "It's Mrs. Tanaka," came the voice from the other side, calm, gentle, yet with an urgency that Alex couldn't place. Alex froze. Mrs. Tanaka was his friend Rena's mother. She had a warm smile, always calm and polite, and she never came to the room uninvited. She usually dropped by during the day, when Rena or Alex were studying together, or for some small, friendly chat. But at 11 p.m.? This was unusual. He hesitated for a moment before answering, Come in." The door slid open, revealing Mrs. Tanaka holding something in her hands. It was a small device, about the size of a book, but glowing faintly with a soft blue light. Alex blinked. He had never seen anything like it before. "Sorry to come this late," she said, stepping inside carefully. "I hope I'm not disturbing you too much." Alex shook his head. "No, it's okay." "What is that?" He pointed at the glowing object. Mrs. Tanaka placed it gently on the desk. "This," she said, "is something very important, and it's why I'm here tonight." Alex's curiosity grew instantly. "Important? How important?" "Extremely," she said, her tone calm but serious. "I can't explain everything all at once, but what I'm going to tell you, it's something you need to know. Something that might change the way you see the world, or rather, the universe." Alex's heart skipped a beat. He had always loved stories about space, aliens and hidden mysteries. But to hear that something extraordinary was happening right here, in his room, made him both nervous and excited. Mrs. Tanaka noticed the mixture of fear and curiosity on his face and smiled gently. "I know it's sudden, but you're ready to understand. That's why I came to you." Alex nodded slowly. He took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. "Okay, I'm listening." Mrs. Tanaka picked up the device again, turning it so that the blue light reflected off the walls of the room. "This is a first-contact communicator," she explained. "It's a message from a civilization far beyond our solar system. They've been watching humanity for decades." Alex blinked. He had always imagined aliens as something from science fiction, but this was real. He could feel it. "Watching? Humans? Why?" "They're curious," Mrs. Tanaka said. "Not because they want to hurt us or take over our planet. They are puzzled. You see, humans are unusual. Most civilizations they've observed solve problems through logic, strength, or control. Humans solve problems through creativity, emotion, and connection. You think that's ordinary. To them, it's extraordinary." Alex sat back, trying to process the words. He had never thought of humans that way before. All his life, he had considered empathy and imagination as just normal parts of growing up. But to an alien species, these simple traits could be something no one else had. "Why are you telling me this?" Alex asked. "Because," Mrs. Tanaka said, lowering her voice a little, "something big is coming. The aliens have set a challenge, a test of intelligence, creativity, and problem-solving. And humans are among the few species capable of meeting it in ways no one else can." Alex felt a shiver run down his spine. A test? From aliens? On Mars? This was more incredible than anything he had ever imagined. What kind of test?" he asked cautiously. Mrs. Tanaka smiled a little sadly. "Not a test of strength, not a test of technology, a test of ingenuity, the ability to think in ways that are unexpected, to combine what you know with what you feel, to use both heart and mind to solve a problem that could affect not just one world but many." Alex leaned forward, his eyes wide. "And I'm part of it?" "Yes," she said simply. "Right now you are. That is why I came to you tonight. You are one of the humans who can see possibilities that others cannot. That's why I brought the communicator here." The device hummed softly, as if agreeing with her words. Its light pulsed in time with Alex's heartbeat. He reached out almost instinctively and touched it. A gentle warmth spread through his fingers. "Tonight," Mrs. Tanaka continued, "I want you to look at it, explore it, understand it. I cannot leave it in the hands of someone unprepared, and I believe you are ready." Alex felt a rush of excitement. This was the moment he had dreamed of, without even knowing he had dreamed it. He leaned closer to the glowing device, his mind racing with questions, ideas, and possibilities. "Will I see them? The aliens?" he asked. "In a way," she said, "yes. This communicator will show you their thoughts, their puzzles, their way of thinking, but be careful, you may not understand everything at first. That is okay. Understanding is part of the test." Alex nodded, his hands trembling slightly. I want to try." Mrs. Tanaka smiled. "Good. Then let's begin. But remember, whatever you see tonight, remember one thing. Humans are special not because of their technology or even their courage. Humans are special because of their ability to care, to imagine, and to connect. That is your greatest strength. Keep it with you." Alex's mind spun with her words. He had never felt so small and so powerful at the same time. Small because the universe was unimaginably vast. Powerful because something about being human, being himself, had value on a scale he had never realized. Mrs. Tanaka set the device in the center of the desk. Its soft blue glow filled the room, reflecting on the walls and ceiling. Alex leaned forward, staring at it intently, trying to anticipate what would happen next. Suddenly, the device began to emit a holographic projection. Light shimmered and bent in the air above it, forming shapes, symbols, and a faint outline of something that looked like a star map. Alex's eyes widened in awe. "This," Mrs. Tanaka whispered, "is your first step. A puzzle, a challenge. Look closely. See what the patterns tell you. See what possibilities you can imagine." Alex leaned closer, his fingers hovering over the holographic map. Each symbol seemed to shift as he looked at it, as if responding to his curiosity. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced. Hours passed like minutes. Alex studied, experimented, and guessed. He made mistakes, of course, but each mistake taught him something new. Mrs. Tanaka watched silently from the corner, her calm presence giving him courage. By 1 a.m., Alex realized something extraordinary. He wasn't just solving a puzzle, he was thinking in ways he had never thought before, seeing connections between patterns, predicting possibilities, and imagining solutions no one had suggested. Finally, leaning back in his chair, he exhaled deeply. I think I'm starting to get it," he said, a smile forming on his face. This is incredible." Mrs. Tanaka smiled warmly. I know. And this is only the beginning. The night is long, and the universe is vast. But tonight, you have taken your first step. Alex looked at the glowing device again. It pulsed softly like a heartbeat. He felt its warmth, its mystery, and its promise. And he knew, without a doubt, that nothing would ever be the same again. The knock at 11 p.m. had changed everything, and whatever he would discover tonight would stay with him forever. The soft glow of the holographic device filled Alex's room, casting strange, shifting patterns across the walls. He stared at the floating symbols, mesmerized. Mrs. Tanaka remained quiet, her calm presence reassuring him. The silence was comfortable, almost sacred, as if the room itself was holding its breath. Alex, she said finally, her voice gentle but serious. Before you start exploring further, I want you to understand something important. Alex looked up from the holographic map. What is it? The device, she said, gesturing toward it, is more than a puzzle. It's a message from a civilization far beyond our solar system. They have been observing humans for a long time. Alex's eyes widened. Observing? Like aliens? Yes, she said. Aliens. But not like in movies or stories. They aren't here to hurt anyone. In fact, they are curious, fascinated by humans. Alex blinked. Curious. Because of what? Mrs. Tanaka smiled faintly. Because humans are unique. Most species they have observed rely entirely on logic, strength, or rigid rules. Humans solve problems in ways no one else does. With creativity, with empathy, with imagination. You might think these are ordinary, everyday things, but to them, it is extraordinary. Alex leaned back in his chair, trying to digest her words. Humans special. Because of empathy and imagination. It sounded strange. But he remembered the late-night experiments, the group projects where humans invented clever solutions, the stories from history where ordinary people did remarkable things. Maybe she was right. Why are you telling me this? He asked quietly. Because, Mrs. Tanaka said, the aliens have prepared a challenge, a test, not a test of strength, not a test of speed, but a test of ingenuity, creativity, and connection. They want to see if humans can solve problems in ways no other species can. Alex felt a shiver of excitement, a challenge from aliens. And he was involved. But why me? You are ready, she said simply. Some humans can see possibilities others cannot. You are one of them. That is why I brought the device here tonight. You are going to see and experience things that most humans never will. He looked at the glowing device again. It pulsed softly, like it was alive, waiting for him. His fingers itched to touch it, to explore it, to understand it. Can it show me them? He asked, his voice trembling slightly. The aliens? In a way, she said. The device will show you their thoughts, their way of thinking, their puzzles, but do not expect to understand everything immediately. That is the point. Understanding comes with effort and perspective. Alex took a deep breath. His mind was racing with questions, but he nodded. Okay, I'm ready. Mrs. Tanaka smiled. Good, then start. Observe, learn, imagine. The device responded immediately. The soft blue glow intensified, and the holographic projection above it began to shift. Shapes and lines formed a complex pattern, constantly moving and changing. Alex's eyes widened. It looked like a star map, but not like any he had seen before. Symbols floated in the air, connecting to one another, forming strange geometries. It's beautiful, Alex whispered, reaching out his hand. His fingers brushed the projection, and a faint warmth spread through his skin. The shapes seemed to respond to him, changing subtly as he moved. Mrs. Tanaka watched him quietly. Notice the patterns, Alex? Don't try to force the solution. Watch. Learn. Think about what humans do differently. How you solve problems. The aliens want to see that. Alex studied the shapes carefully. At first, they made no sense. Lines intersected at impossible angles, symbols shifted faster than he could follow. But slowly, he began to see connections. He saw patterns repeating, subtle clues embedded within the shapes. Ideas formed in his mind, small at first but growing steadily. Hours passed. Outside, the Martian night was still and silent. The colony lights flickered faintly in the distance. Inside, Alex and the device were locked in a quiet dance of discovery. He made mistakes, of course. He tried combinations that failed. He guessed wrong, and sometimes the holographic shapes corrected themselves, shifting into new forms. But each failure taught him something new. Mrs. Tanaka said nothing, only observing. Her presence gave Alex courage, reminding him that he was not alone in this. Finally, just past 2 a.m., Alex paused, leaning back in his chair. He looked at the patterns and suddenly, something clicked. A connection, simple but profound, emerged in his mind. The symbols weren't just random. They formed a sequence, a story of sorts, a problem the aliens were facing. "They're asking for help," Alex whispered. His voice was full of awe. "They need a solution, and they don't know how to do it themselves." "Yes," Mrs. Tanaka said softly. "And humans can see solutions where others cannot. You are beginning to understand. That is your gift." "That is what the aliens are testing." Alex's mind raced. He thought of human inventions, simple yet brilliant. The wheel, electricity, agriculture, computers. Humans had always combined curiosity, creativity, and cooperation to solve problems. That was exactly what the aliens needed. He reached out and touched one of the symbols. It responded immediately, shifting into a new form. His ideas began to flow naturally. He imagined combining patterns in ways the device hadn't shown him. He thought about empathy, connection, creativity, all the qualities that humans sometimes took for granted. Hours passed like minutes. Alex experimented with new combinations, tested possibilities, and gradually, the holographic puzzle began to take shape. Slowly, a solution emerged, guided by intuition rather than rigid logic. Finally, as the first faint light of Martian dawn appeared on the horizon, Alex leaned back and smiled. The symbols hovered in perfect harmony. The puzzle was solved, or at least a solution had been found that the aliens could not have imagined on their own. Mrs. Tanaka stepped closer, smiling. "You see, Alex, this is what I wanted you to understand tonight. Humans do not rely solely on force or logic. You rely on imagination, empathy, and connection. That is what makes you extraordinary. That is what the universe respects." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. He had solved a puzzle that seemed impossible at first, not with brute force, but with thinking differently. Do you think it will work?" he asked. Mrs. Tanaka nodded. "It will. The aliens will see your solution, and they will understand something very important, that humans, despite being young and small in the universe, have the power to make a difference. Sometimes the smallest minds can shine the brightest." Alex looked at the device one last time before the projection faded. It pulsed gently, as if acknowledging him, then dimmed, returning to its soft blue glow. "You did well," Mrs. Tanaka said quietly. "Tonight, you have not only solved a puzzle, you have taken your first step toward understanding humanity's place in the universe. Never forget it, Alex. Humans have a gift unlike any other species. Your creativity, your empathy, your curiosity, these are your greatest tools. Keep them alive, always." Alex nodded, still staring at the now dormant device. He felt different, as if a door had opened in his mind. He had glimpsed something extraordinary, a universe that was vast, mysterious, and filled with possibilities. And for the first time, he understood something he had never realized before. Humans were extraordinary, not because of strength or technology, but because of their hearts and minds. As Mrs. Tanaka quietly left the room, Alex sat in silence, letting the words sink in. The glow of Mars outside the window reminded him that this planet, with its dusty red surface and quiet nights, was only the beginning. One day, humans would travel further, reach higher, and face challenges that no one had imagined. And when they did, they would succeed, because they had something no other species did: the ability to see the world and the universe, not just as it is, but as it could be. That night, Alex didn't sleep. He stayed at his desk, staring at the now quiet device, thinking, imagining, and dreaming. He thought of the stars, the unknown civilizations, and the endless possibilities. And he knew, deep in his heart, that this was only the beginning. For the first time, Alex truly understood what Mrs. Tanaka had meant. Humanity's greatest gift was not strength or speed or even intelligence alone. It was the ability to imagine, to care, and to create. And that gift had just begun to shine. The next night, Alex returned to his desk, his mind buzzing with thoughts from the previous encounter. The device still sat on the desk, quiet now, glowing softly like a calm heartbeat. He had spent the entire day imagining patterns, thinking about solutions, and wondering what the next step would be. Every corner of the Martian colony seemed brighter in his mind, every star in the sky more alive. At exactly 11 p.m., the device stirred again. A soft hum filled the room, gentle but insistent. The blue light intensified, casting moving shadows on the walls. Alex's heart raced. He had been waiting for this moment, though he didn't know exactly what it would be. Mrs. Tanaka appeared in the doorway, as calm and composed as ever. "Alex," she said, "tonight the test truly begins. Are you ready?" Alex nodded, swallowing a nervous excitement. "I think so," she smiled. "Good. Remember, the challenge is not about speed or force. It is about observation, imagination, and understanding. You must think like a human. Think creatively. Think kindly. Think differently." Alex approached the device. As he reached out, the air above it shimmered and changed. The familiar holographic patterns transformed into something new, a three-dimensional map of a distant planetary system. Stars glowed like tiny lamps. Planets rotated slowly, and faint lines connected some of them. Floating above the map were glowing symbols, unfamiliar yet strangely rhythmic. "The aliens have sent you a problem," Mrs. Tanaka explained. "It is a problem they cannot solve themselves. They are curious if a human mind, your mind, can find a solution." Alex studied the projection carefully. He saw planets in strange orbits, some with rings, some with odd rotations. Lines connected certain worlds, forming pathways, but some lines were broken or incomplete. A sense of wonder filled him. This was not just a puzzle. It was a story, a challenge, a question waiting to be answered. "They need us to help prevent a misunderstanding," Mrs. Tanaka said quietly. "Two civilizations are very close to a conflict. Not violent, but dangerous for their progress. They need a way to communicate, to share ideas, to understand each other. And humans might be the first to see the solution." Alex's eyes widened. "We're solving a problem for aliens?" "Yes," she said, smiling. "And you're going to see just how human thinking can shine." Alex took a deep breath and began to explore the holographic map with his hands. As he moved his fingers over the symbols, lines shifted slightly, planets rotated, and new symbols appeared. The device seemed to respond to his thoughts, sensing his curiosity and creativity. At first, he tried simple solutions. He connected planets along the obvious lines, imagining the shortest paths between them. But nothing worked. Some connections disappeared. Others shifted into more confusing patterns. He frowned, leaning closer. "They want you to think differently," Mrs. Tanaka reminded him. "Do not try to force the answer. Let your mind explore. Let your imagination guide you." Alex closed his eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. He thought about humans, about how they solved problems on Earth, how they built bridges, designed cities, invented tools, and helped each other without needing anyone to force them. Solutions often came from seeing connections others could not see. Opening his eyes, he tried a new approach. Instead of connecting planets directly, he thought about communication paths. How could ideas travel safely from one civilization to another? He imagined not just technology, but stories, images, shared experiences, and shared feelings. Slowly, he began to move symbols along the map in ways that seemed unusual, almost creative. The device responded immediately. Lines glowed, planets rotated into more harmonious positions, and the holographic symbols began to pulse in a rhythmic pattern. Alex's heart leaped. He was on the right track. Hours passed, but Alex barely noticed. Outside, the Martian colony slept. Inside, he was immersed in the challenge. His hands danced over the map, experimenting with new connections, imagining pathways that combined logic, intuition, and empathy. He tried paths that didn't make sense at first, only to see the holographic system shift and reward him for his creativity. Mrs. Tanaka observed silently. "Humans don't just calculate," she said softly. "They imagine, they connect, they combine things others cannot. That is your power, Alex. That is why you are succeeding." Alex smiled faintly. "It feels different from anything I've done before. It's like the map isn't just a puzzle, it's alive." "That's right," she said. "The universe is alive, and humans are alive within it. Your thinking, your ideas, your curiosity, they all have value, more than you realize." The hours continued to slip by. Alex experimented, made mistakes, learned from them, and tried again. Each failure brought new understanding. Each attempt revealed a possibility no one had considered. He felt as if he was not just solving a puzzle, but learning to think like the universe itself, to see patterns, possibilities, and connections that others could not. Finally, around 4 a.m., Alex noticed a pattern emerging. The connections between the planets were no longer arbitrary. They formed a network that could allow information to travel safely between civilizations. He adjusted a few final symbols, imagining how ideas, feelings, and knowledge could move along these pathways. The device pulsed brightly. A soft chime echoed in the room, gentle but triumphant. The holographic map stabilized, glowing steadily. Alex leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He had done it. Mrs. Tanaka stepped closer, her eyes shining. "Look at what you have accomplished, Alex. You have solved a problem that no other species could. Not with force, not with speed, not with rigid logic, but with human ingenuity." Alex stared at the projection, hardly able to believe it. I did it? Really?" "Yes," she said. "And do you understand why it worked?" Alex thought for a moment. "Because I thought differently? I used imagination?" "Exactly," she said. "You combined observation, reasoning, empathy, and creativity. You saw solutions that were invisible to others. That is the essence of being human. That is what sets humans apart." A sense of pride and wonder filled Alex. For the first time, he truly understood something Mrs. Tanaka had been trying to teach him. Humans were special not because of strength or technology, but because of their ability to think, imagine, and connect in ways no one else could. The device dimmed slightly, signaling that the test had been completed successfully. Alex smiled, feeling both satisfaction and awe. The challenge had not only tested his mind, but had shown him the power of human creativity and collaboration. "Do you see now?" Mrs. Tanaka asked softly. "You don't need super strength or super speed, or even super technology. What humans have is something far greater: the ability to imagine solutions, to care for others, and to create connections where none existed before. That is why the universe is watching us." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of her words. They were more than encouragement. They were a revelation. He had participated in something extraordinary, a cosmic test, not of might, but of mind and heart, and he had succeeded. For the first time, he understood the possibilities of being human in a universe full of civilizations and challenges. The stars outside his window seemed brighter, more alive, as if acknowledging his small but meaningful contribution. Mrs. Tanaka smiled one last time before stepping toward the door. "Remember this night, Alex. Remember what it means to be human. Your mind, your heart, and your creativity are powerful beyond measure. The universe has noticed, and it will continue to notice." Alex watched her leave, feeling both inspired and humbled. The room felt quiet again, but different, full of possibilities, full of potential, full of wonder. He sat back at his desk, staring at the now dormant device, and smiled. Tomorrow, he would continue learning, imagining, and exploring. But tonight, he had glimpsed something extraordinary: the power of human ingenuity, the beauty of creativity, and the importance of connection. The test had begun, and Alex had shown, in his own quiet way, that humanity was ready. The night was long, the stars were infinite, and the universe was waiting. The soft Martian wind rattled the colony windows as Alex sat at his desk, staring at the quiet device. For the first time in days, the room felt empty, yet not silent. A strange warmth lingered in the air, as if the device itself were breathing, waiting. Alex thought back to the challenge he had solved the night before. The puzzle had been complex, the map of alien civilizations intricate. But through imagination, empathy, and careful thinking, he had succeeded. He could hardly sleep that night. Thoughts swirled in his mind: the two alien civilizations, the network he had created, and the ripple of possibilities his solution might have started. The universe seemed larger, more alive, more aware of human potential than he had ever imagined. By midnight, the device stirred again. Blue light pulsed softly like a heartbeat. Alex's curiosity surged. He touched the surface lightly, and the holographic projection sprang to life. This time, the map was different. The planets, previously isolated, now glowed more vividly, connected by the pathways he had formed. Line pulsed gently, indicating movement. "What is happening?" Alex whispered. Mrs. Tanaka appeared in the doorway, smiling softly. "Alex, you did not just solve a puzzle. Your solution is in motion. The network you created is now allowing the two civilizations to communicate in ways they never imagined. The test is no longer just about solving a problem. It is about seeing the effect of your ideas in action." Alex leaned closer, fascinated. The glowing lines between planets seemed almost alive. Symbols floated along them, representing messages, images, and thoughts traveling safely between civilizations. The aliens he had never met were now exchanging ideas through pathways he had imagined. "It's beautiful," Alex said. "I never thought I'd be part of something like this." Mrs. Tanaka nodded. "That is the power of humans, Alex. You see connections that others cannot. You combine creativity, logic, and empathy in ways that no other species has. That is what makes humans extraordinary." Alex studied the holographic map carefully. He could see patterns forming in real time. The two civilizations, once isolated, were now beginning to exchange knowledge, their worlds gradually aligning. He noticed subtle changes. Ideas that had never existed before were emerging, inspired by the network he had created. "It feels like they're learning from us," Alex murmured. "They are learning from your thinking," Mrs. Tanaka said. "Your human perspective is helping them understand each other. They may be advanced in technology, but your insight, your way of thinking, is giving them something far greater: understanding, collaboration, and imagination." Alex smiled faintly. The idea filled him with pride. He had helped not by force, by speed, or by superior knowledge, but by thinking differently. Humans could create solutions that even the most advanced civilizations could not. The device pulsed again, projecting a message in symbols and images. Alex studied it carefully. He realized it was a form of acknowledgement. The alien civilizations were responding to his solution, thanking him in their way. A small vibration of light traveled along the pathways, gentle yet unmistakable. "Look, Alex," Mrs. Tanaka said, pointing to the lines connecting planets. "They are sharing ideas. They are creating new possibilities together. And it all began with your solution." Alex felt a thrill of wonder. For the first time, he understood the true scale of human ingenuity. One human mind, using creativity and empathy, had influenced the flow of ideas between worlds. That was something incredible, something extraordinary. "I never imagined humans could do this," Alex admitted. "I mean, we're just people, small, fragile, ordinary." Mrs. Tanaka shook her head gently. "No, Alex. Humans are remarkable because of what you cannot always measure. You do not need super strength or incredible technology to make a difference. You need imagination, compassion, curiosity, and collaboration. You have these qualities, and tonight, the universe has noticed." Alex stared at the glowing network. For hours, he watched as ideas, knowledge, and creativity traveled along the paths he had created. Worlds that had never communicated were now exchanging lessons in science, art, and philosophy. Even the smallest worlds were contributing. The potential for growth and understanding seemed limitless. This feels like hope," Alex whispered, "like something bigger than anything I've known." "Yes," Mrs. Tanaka said softly. "That is what humans bring to the universe: hope, possibility. The courage to imagine a better future and find solutions where others see only obstacles. That is your gift. That is humanity's edge." Alex thought about Earth, about the humans living there and on Mars. He thought about school projects, family and friends. Every act of creativity, every kind word, every small discovery, it all mattered. Humans had been underestimated even by themselves, but their potential was boundless. For the first time, Alex felt a deep connection to something greater than himself. He was part of humanity, a species capable of shaping worlds not with force, but with thought, heart, and imagination. And now, the effects of his actions were visible across the galaxy. The device pulsed once more. The holographic map stabilized, the lines glowing steadily, the planets shimmering like jewels. Alex reached out and touched it lightly. The warmth spread through his fingers again, comforting and powerful. Mrs. Tanaka stepped closer, her voice calm but filled with pride. "Remember this moment, Alex. This is what it means to be human. You are not ordinary. You are capable of creating solutions where none existed. You can inspire, connect, and build bridges that no one else can. Never forget it." Alex nodded, feeling a mix of awe and responsibility. He understood that what he had done was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of mysteries and challenges, but humanity had something rare: the ability to think differently, to see connections others could not, and to act with creativity and empathy. As the Martian dawn began to light the sky, the device finally dimmed to a soft glow. Alex leaned back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. The network of civilizations continued to pulse, alive with ideas, imagination, and collaboration. He knew that he had played a small but important role in something much larger than himself. For the first time, he felt the weight of possibility, not just for himself, but for humanity. The species that had once wondered if they belonged among the stars had now left a mark, subtle but profound, on civilizations far beyond their own. Alex closed his eyes for a moment, letting the realization sink in. Humanity's strength was not measured in power or conquest, but in imagination, empathy, and connection. The universe had noticed, and it had responded. When he opened his eyes, he saw Mrs. Tanaka smiling softly at him. "The test is not over, Alex. Challenges will continue. There will be more puzzles, more opportunities, more moments where human ingenuity can shine. But tonight, you have seen what humans can achieve. And the universe has seen it too." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. The glow of the Martian sunrise filled his room, painting the walls in soft orange and red. Outside, the colony was waking, unaware of the extraordinary events that had unfolded in one quiet bedroom. He smiled to himself. He understood now, more than ever, that being human was extraordinary. Not because humans were perfect or strong or invincible, but because they had the ability to imagine, to connect, and to create solutions where none seemed possible. The device remained on his desk, quiet but alive, a reminder of the night's revelations. Alex knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new ideas, and new opportunities to see the power of human thinking in action. But tonight, he simply sat back and marveled at what he and humanity had accomplished. He had helped bridge worlds, enabled understanding, and shown that humans, ordinary humans, could be extraordinary. The lesson was clear. Strength was not always physical. Knowledge alone was not enough, and logic, while powerful, was limited. What humans offered the universe was something rare and invaluable: creativity, empathy, and the courage to think differently. And in that moment, Alex felt something profound. Humanity had an edge, a spark, a potential that could light the stars, and he was part of it. The night on Mars was quiet, but the universe had noticed. And that notice, Alex realized, would echo far beyond his understanding, carried on the waves of imagination and connection he had helped set in motion. The first light of Martian morning crept gently across Alex's room, painting the walls in soft shades of red and gold. The colony outside stirred awake, but inside, Alex sat quietly at his desk, still staring at the glowing device. It had been several nights since the first knock, yet he could hardly believe how much had changed in such a short time. The holographic projection hovered above the device, pulsing softly. Lines connected distant planets, symbols shifted in subtle patterns, and faint images traveled along the pathways like messages being sent and received. Alex leaned closer, mesmerized. The network he had created was alive, moving, and interacting. His human intuition, imagination, and care had become a bridge between civilizations he had never met. Mrs. Tanaka stepped into the room, her familiar calm presence warming the quiet morning. "Alex," she said softly, "you have done something extraordinary. What you have started is continuing to grow." Alex turned to her, his eyes bright. "I can see it. The civilizations, they're sharing ideas, learning from each other. It's working." "Yes," she said, smiling, "and it will continue to work because what you have shown is not just a solution for them. It is a demonstration of something far greater, the power of humanity." Alex thought for a moment. "Do you really think humans can make a difference in the universe?" Mrs. Tanaka nodded. More than you know. Humans have a gift, the ability to imagine solutions that others cannot, to connect with others through empathy and creativity, to turn challenges into opportunities. That is why the universe is watching us. That is why your actions tonight matter. Alex leaned back, a mixture of pride and wonder filling him. He thought about the past few nights, the puzzles, the challenges, the patterns he had followed, and the solutions he had created. It had all been incredible, yes, but now he understood something deeper. This wasn't just about solving puzzles, it was about understanding what it meant to be human. For the first time, Alex felt truly connected, not just to the Martian colony or to Earth, but to something bigger. Humanity, with its flaws and strengths, its imagination and creativity, its curiosity and kindness, had a place in the universe. And somehow, he had helped it shine. The device pulsed again, brighter this time. Alex reached out, and a new projection appeared, a map of the alien civilizations. But this one was different. Each planet glowed with a soft, golden light, and lines connecting them sparkled like threads of energy. He realized that these were the effects of his actions, the results of human ingenuity and motion. "It's beautiful," Alex whispered. "They're actually thriving because of it." "Yes," Mrs. Tanaka said. "They are learning to cooperate, to communicate, to share knowledge without conflict." And it all started with a human perspective, your perspective. Alex smiled faintly. The idea was incredible. One human mind, simply thinking differently, had influenced the flow of ideas across the galaxy. He had never imagined that something so small could have such an enormous effect. "Do you think they will remember us?" he asked. "They will," Mrs. Tanaka said. "Not in the way humans remember names or faces, but in the way civilizations remember solutions, insights, and possibilities. They will carry your ideas forward, just as we carry the ideas of those who came before us, and that is how humans leave their mark on the universe." Alex's chest swelled with a quiet pride. He thought about Earth, about Mars, about every small act of creativity, learning, and collaboration that humans had achieved. Each one seemed small on its own, but together they were extraordinary. He turned back to the device, studying the glowing lines and symbols. He realized that this was just the beginning. The network could expand further, connect more worlds, and inspire more possibilities, and humans, with their imagination and empathy, could continue to shape it. Mrs. Tanaka's voice brought him back from his thoughts. "Alex, there is one thing you should always remember," she said. "Being human is not about being perfect. It's about using what you have, your creativity, your empathy, your curiosity, to solve problems, to connect with others, and to create possibilities that others cannot even imagine. That is what the universe respects." Alex nodded slowly. The words stayed with him, sinking deep into his mind. He had always known that humans were capable, but now he truly understood the scale of their potential, and he knew that he had been part of something extraordinary. Outside, the Martian sun rose higher, casting long shadows across the red landscape. Alex felt a sudden surge of determination. There were so many challenges ahead for humans, for the colony, and for the wider universe. But he also felt hope. Humans had the power to create solutions, to connect civilizations, and to make a real difference. He stood and walked to the window, looking out at the Martian horizon. The sky was painted in shades of pink and gold, and the faint shimmer of distant stars reminded him of the vastness beyond. Humanity had only just begun to reach out, but already its potential was undeniable. Alex turned back to the device one last time. Its glow was softer now, as if resting, but alive. He placed his hand lightly on it, feeling the warmth and quiet energy. "Thank you," he whispered. "I promise to remember." Mrs. Tanaka smiled. "You don't need to thank it, Alex. You don't need to thank anyone. What matters is that you understand and that you carry this understanding forward. Humans are capable of more than you know. And now, the universe knows too." Alex sat back down, a sense of calm and purpose filling him. He knew that his life had changed forever. He would continue to learn, to explore, to imagine, and to solve problems. But now, he also understood something larger, that humanity, with all its ordinary people, was extraordinary in ways the universe had noticed. The colony outside hummed softly with life. Martian rovers moved in the distance. The early morning light reflected off solar panels, and the quiet hum of machines reminded Alex of human innovation. He smiled. Earth and Mars, humans and colonies were just the beginning. One day, he thought, humans would reach farther, explore deeper, and face challenges even greater than tonight's. But now he knew the truth. Humanity's edge was not in technology or strength, but in imagination, empathy, and creativity. That was a power no one could measure, but one that could change worlds. The device's glow faded slightly as the holographic map disappeared, leaving only the faint warmth in his hands. Alex closed his eyes for a moment, letting the night's lessons settle in. He felt proud, inspired, and ready for what was next. As the Martian day began, he knew one thing for certain. Humanity had a place in the universe. And one ordinary human like him could make a difference that would echo far beyond his understanding. Alex smiled to himself. The universe was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges, but humans had something extraordinary: the ability to imagine, to create, and to connect. And that gift, he knew, would shine for generations to come. The first rays of sunlight touched the red Martian soil, painting the world in hope. And in a small room, on a small planet, Alex felt the quiet pride of being human. Part of a species capable of shaping not just its world, but the universe itself. For the first time, he understood it completely. Humans were extraordinary, and the universe had finally seen it.